Hello everyone, this is Mrs. Snook with section 6.2, Law of Cosines. And our objective today is we're going to use the law of cosines to solve oblique triangles. So that means they're not right angle triangles. And you're going to be given either the three sides, SSS, or a side, an included angle, and then the other side. And we're also going to use law of cosines to solve a real-world problem. So in the box here, I have written for you the law of cosines. The most common form is this one, where you say c squared equals a squared plus b squared minus 2ab cosine c. And I want you to notice that the c and the cosine c, those two are an angle side pair. And they go on opposite sides of the equation. You can also write it in a form where you're solving for the angle. So to solve for cosine c, you're going to do a squared plus b squared minus c squared divided by 2ab. And again, here is our angle side pair. So let's get started and do some problems. Here's our first problem. We're given all three sides of a triangle. This is not a right triangle, it is oblique. And this is the side, side, side case. And what we're asked to do is find the measures of all of the angles in the triangle. Here's a hint. Start with your biggest angle first. So we're going to solve for b first. So I'm looking for b. That's an angle, so I'm going to search for the cosine of b. So I'm going to use cosine of b equals a squared plus c squared minus b squared over 2ac. So in other words, I'm going to use the angle I'm looking for. Over here, the minus b squared, that's one of the sides that you're given. And then we're just going to work with the other two sides, the a and the c. So let's plug in. A squared is 8, so 8 squared plus 14 squared minus 19 squared over 2 times 8 times 14 is going to be your cosine of b. Just plug that into your calculator. And this is what you're going to get. So 8 squared plus 14 squared minus 19 squared. And I'm going to divide all of that by 2 times 8 times 14. So we get negative 0.451. Okay? So now that I know what cosine of b is, it's 0.451, I'm going to use the inverse cosine to get the actual value of the angle. So on both sides of this equation, do the inverse cosine. And when you do that, your cosine comes out, so you're left with b equals the inverse cosine of negative 0.451. And when I do that, I get 116.8 degrees. Okay, so now at this point, you actually have a choice. You can do law of sines because I now have an angle side pair. I've got a complete pair, so I could do law of sines, or I could do law of cosines again. Let's just do law of cosines again because that's what we're practicing. So I also have my choice. I can find angle A or angle C. I'm just going to get C because it's right over here. So cosine of C this time is going to equal, I take the lengths of the two other sides. So not C, I want A and B. So 8 squared plus 19 squared. Now I subtract my C squared. I'm going to divide that by 2 and again put in those other sides, the 8 and the 19. And I get cosine of C equals I get 0.75. Let's go ahead and inverse cosine that. And angle C is going to be 41.1 degrees. Okay. All that's left is angle A. That one's easy peasy. Just add your two angles that you know, B and C together, subtract them from 180 using triangle sum theorem. So angle A is going to be 180 minus, I'm going to take away angle B, which is 116.8, and I'm going to take away angle A, which is 41.1. Did I say angle A? Angle C. So I get 180 minus 116.8 minus 41.1. Angle A is 22.1. Easy peasy, just plug and chug. Let's do another example. Now this time I'm given two sides and an included angle. So this is a side angle side, and I'm asked to find the indicated measurement, which is DF. So this is the one we're looking for. I'm going to call that little e because it's opposite of angle E. And I'm just going to set up law of cosines. So little e squared, that's what I'm looking for, is going to equal, I just take those other two sides, 20 and 22. So 20 squared plus 22 squared minus 2. And then fill in those other sides again, 20 and 22. And then cosine of big angle E. Now all I gotta do is, and the angle E is 104, so I'm just gonna plug and chug. So E squared is gonna equal, just plug this through your calculator, 20 squared plus 22 squared. I'm just gonna go ahead and write this down. This one's 884, and then I'm gonna subtract 2 times 20 times 22 times the cosine of 104. And that's a minus 212.9. And I get E squared is 1092.9. And then we're going to square root that, because that's E squared. And E equals 33. Now my calculator has 33.0589, but we're going to round to the nearest tenth, so I round off that 0.05, and that rounds to a 0.1. My units are kilometers, don't forget your units. Okay? We're going to do one more, and this one is a real life situation. Comes from the world of navigation. We have a ship traveling 60 miles due east, so that's over here, that's little c. The ship then adjusts course northward, as shown in the picture, and it travels 80 miles in that new direction. So that's this one, little a. And then the ship ends up being 139 miles away from its point of departure, and what they want is this angle B right in here. Perfect for law of cosines. So just grab your law of cosines, and we know that cosine of B equals, take those other two sides, the 60 and the 80. 60 squared plus 80 squared. Now subtract the side that matches up. All over 2 times, and then do your 60 and your 80, your other two sides. Just plug all this in the calculator. So 60 squared plus 80 squared minus 139 squared. And I'm going to divide that by 2 times 60 times 80. And I got negative 0.9709. And then I'm just going to inverse cosine that. And then angle B is 166.15 degrees. And it says, it doesn't say to round, so I'm okay with 2 decimal points. All right, that's it for today's lesson. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.